Got debt? Spendebt is a tool that helps you pay off debt every time you swipe your debit card. Take control of your financial future in 3 easy steps. Visit Spendebt.com to link your bank and debt accounts. Set your micropayment amount to be added to each debit transaction and start spending. As you make everyday purchases, micropayments will automatically be sent to your Spendebt account and paid to your debt account at the end of the month. These aren't roundup payments. These are micropayment amounts you set. Pay off debt every time you swipe. Try Spendebt free for 30 days by visiting Spendebt.com or downloading the Spendebt app.
Welcome to another episode of What's the Hype podcast.
Building. And an interception, and you're not down by 10 anymore. Andre Hal, his second interception.
To get you the information that you need to start your own business and do your own thing.
And I felt like it gave me a good perspective.
I was not the first person to go through what I went through.
Welcome to another episode of What's the Hype podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Pope, aka the Pod Disciple.
I'm the co-host, Andre Hal.
We're so excited that you're joining us for part 2 of our interview with Jordan Matthews.
All right, let's get back to some football. So, your first 3 seasons in Philly, things look pretty good for you. I thought you were gonna be there for a long time, But did you see the trade coming?
I did not, man, and I'm gonna just tell the story, because and people can feel however they want, how they want to feel about it. I tell people all the time, like, there's really, for me, now understanding the business, I do not harbor hard feelings from the way a business does you, because at the end of the day, it would have behooved me never to get my emotions wrapped up in the business anyway. So I say that to say this is really how it happened. So I'm going first year 870, 860, 8 touchdowns. Next year 990, 8 touchdowns. Next year I go 803 touchdowns. Performance dipped off a little bit, but that year I got hit in my knee in training camp, right? So I got hit, and it was in my patella tendon, kind of MCL, LCL, it was so close to the season though that I was definitely gonna play. I was like, okay, I'll play. I don't put that on trainers, nothing. I was like, I'm gonna go play, but I was hampered that year, so my production kind of dropped off. Now, that off season, going into my 4th year, right? I kind of was like, man, this knee for some reason is still bothering me. Like, I think I need to seek some outside, advice from somebody, outside opinion. And this doctor tells me, I go meet this doctor in Kansas City. He looks at my skin and says, hey man, there's a little tear in here. Like, this is not just tendonitis. This is a small tear. And I go back to the Eagles and like, hey guys, like, I'm hearing this is a small tear, but we're super close to the season, all right? So I end up going, I go back to Kansas City and I meet the person. I said, I want you to get hands on this thing. Because he told me it was a tear actually over the phone. This is when I went to Kansas City. So he gets hands on it, puts the ultrasound on, he says, 100% this is a tear. Like, you could use surgery, not surgery in the sense where they open your knee, but like a minimally invasive deal where you like got to take out some of that bad tissue and go put in some good stem cells. But that's like a 6-month recovery. But he was like, you need something like this. And so I'm sitting on that table and I'm just contemplating, because it's like June, July. And I'm like, he said, you can either do that or we can get you some PRP, based like a PRP BMAC, bone marrow aspirate, like type procedure. That's like an injection, but it was not going to get me right. It was at most going to get me to like 80%. Because at that time I was moving to like 60. That's how bad my knee was hurting after I played that whole season after getting hurt in camp. And I still had 803. I played the whole season on that, and I ended up fracturing a small bone in my ankle mid-year. Still played on that. So it's July, right? I'm laying on this table in Kansas City. I'm hearing this guy tell me we can do a shot to your knee, but it's only gonna get you to 80%, or we can do a surgery and you'll get back to 100%, but you're gonna be out for like 6 months. You have to go on IR. Now, I ain't missed games or nothing that much up to this point. I'm just sitting on the table. So I call up my agent, talk to him. He's kind of like, hey, whatever you think is best, your body. All right. So I call up Howie. I say, Howie is our GM. I say, Howie, man, what do you think? And so Howie tells me, he says, hey, Jordan, we need you. Carson needs you. The team needs you. And he tells me, he says, hey, look, an 80% Jordan Matthews is better than a 100% anybody else in my book. And like I said, I was playing slot at the time. And up to that point, they were like, we're going to help you out when it comes to the outside. So they got Torrey Smith and they got Alshon Jeffrey. So they got a Z, they got an X, and you're going to be able to play specifically in the slot. And so I was like, well, if I'm 80%, like during the practice week, I'm just need to be kind of like taken care of, get to the game, I'll still ball out. And, I think I can still string together a year. And we both agreed on that. And so I tell the doctor, I say, let's not do the surgery, man. Just give me the shot. Dog, when I say that the pain, like they took bone marrow out my back and injected that thing into my knee. And I was awake. I was awake at the time, bro. And I didn't know, I'm not gonna say the doctor's name. They actually was a great guy, but most other BMAC procedures I'd heard people are asleep for. I was awake for this. Imagine somebody injecting bone marrow basically in your patella tendon where it's torn. Bro, I was crying. I remember just saying, I don't want to even do this no more. Like, I was just so much pain, but I just didn't know how to, like, stop. I said, you know what? It's whatever. Like, I'm going to just go ball out this year, and then I'm going to go get this thing fixed. So I go into camp, and you can tell I'm moving different, but I was only going to be at 80%. It was all that was what we had talked about. And so we go into the first preseason game. I'm starting, right? So the first preseason game, I still go out there balling, right? Carson Wentz first preseason game. He goes, it's Carson. No, this is his second year. This is Carson's second year now. First preseason game, his second year. He goes 4 for 4 on the first drive. 3 of those were to me. A catch, another catch, then he threw me a first down. So he throws me a first down, right? We close to the red zone now. All of a sudden, Coach Peterson says, Jordan, come on. Pulls me out. Now, like the starters usually at least do the first drive. So I'm sitting here like, you want me to finish the drive? He's like, no, you good. Come on. So I come to the sideline, and that was it. I didn't go back in the game. I was like, okay, shoot. Like they see I'm ready to go. Next day, coming to the building, I do my routine in the tubs, hot tubs, whatever, And I watched the film with Coach Grove. Well, I got nothing but good things to say too about Grove, great receivers coach. He tried to do his thing at OC too as my guy. But I leave. I go home, I'm sitting up at the dockside, and I get a call from Doug and Howie telling me that they traded me to the Bills. And man, I just sat there. And like I said, the way I was raised, like I never would raise my voice as somebody who was like older than me. Like I just wouldn't, it was hard for me to do that. But when I say they said that, and I was just, all I could just do, I was just going back to that moment where I was just laying on that table in Kansas City. Like, I went through a bone marrow aspirate shot in my patella tendon to play as an Eagle. And now y'all tell me I'm getting traded? Man. But then at that time, dog, it was just like, what do you do? So I just said, hey, yes, sir. And it was like, we appreciate everything you've done. I said, thank you. I just got off the phone, man. And I got the Bills texting me, calling me. I just put my phone down. I'm just like, man, I'm just looking at all my stuff. And my knee's still in pain. I'm like, I got to move all this junk. like all this stuff, you know. And I'm not even the type of person that likes to complain, because I'm just like, my situation is still, there's a million people that would trade their situation for mine. So I'm not a complainer. I'm not a woe is me type person. But I will say that mentally though, and emotionally, I took a hit that day, because I was just like, holy cow, like everything that I thought I knew about this game has totally changed. And so I had to go get on the plane that next day. I go out to Buffalo, and I mean, like I said, the Buffalo experience was hard, because if I was hurt, like I had these conversations with the Eagles about how I was going to be this year,
right,
and how I could go get my procedure at the end of the season and all this. You go to a new team, it's like when you go test drive a car, you ain't gonna drive that thing 30 miles per hour. You're trying to see what it can do. I was that car, you know. It's like, yo, let's go. Like, and I was just under so much stress, bro. Like, I literally went out there the first practice. I jumped up, caught a jump ball, landed on my back, and my sternum cracked. I cracked my sternum. And so I'm just like, and I was so upset, but I remember I was thinking, man, this is literally God just saying, we need to slow down. Like, there's a lot on you right now, you know? And so I remember just going back to my room, barely could sleep because my sternum was cracked. You know, I'm sleeping like this. And I'm just sitting there like, dog, like, what's going on, man? Like, why is this happening to me? Why, you know, why now? Why this? But you know, that was the situation, man. And I literally, and like I said, still in pain. We get back to Buffalo, we're practicing. And I remember calling my receivers coach over. He was the first person I kind of confided in about it. I said, look, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know if y'all know this. I'm surprised I even passed my physical. I'm like, I'm jacked up right now. Like, I still got this small fracture in my right ankle. It's a bone, this osteogonum that's like kind of messed up. And my knee, like, is not, like, I have to get it fixed. He looked at me and said, man, just give me your best. And then when you're ready to shut it down, or if you can't go, you know, just let me know. And so that's what it was, man. Buffalo was a grind. Every bit of them yards, like, people always love to, like, hate on me for that year. Go look at the targets and go look at the catches. I think I had, like, maybe, like, 30 targets, caught, like, 20-something. Like, I was just grinding, bro. People don't know how much pain I was in, man. Like, they got these things called diclofenac. Man, I wasn't abusing it. Like, but at the same time, bro, just know, like, I was on painkillers all the time. Right. Because I was just in so much pain, bro. And the whole time I'm watching my team, my former team, have success. And I'm just like, all right, you know, hey, is what it is, you know. But it got to disappoint. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, it's a couple points that I want to touch on, because we're going to get to just that feeling. But being a former front office member myself, I worked in the front office. I've seen how this game is, right? So we can't let that just pass, because that's really the reason why we want to have these interviews, because you're talking about a GM that tells you, don't take the surgery. We got you, right? We know your situation. They then fatten you up, like go out there and get you 3 catches on the opening drive of the preseason game, so that the team can see he's healthy, he's good, and then trade you, right? So it's like, you know, to understand that's what opened my eyes up, being on that other side, saying, you know, especially people that look like me. I want to just but you have to really have an understanding of this business to know when making those decisions that you're making a decision that's best for you, right? Because they're going to make the decision that's best for them. So, you know, that in itself is really what I want people to not miss, because, again, you just did what you told. You gave them everything you had. But at the same time, they look at you. And then, again, like, you get ready to go into a contract year, you know, just thinking, okay, man, I'm going to give them – they'll respect me enough to pay. Man, like, that had to be an eye-opening experience, a devastating experience. And then, like you said, to see them go on to have success. So you can finish your point on that and just seeing that whole thing happen and play out the way that did.
Right, man. I actually want to expound on what you just said. And it's one of those things where, remember, like, ever since then, too, I've signed with the Eagles 2 more times. Remember, because I went to the Patriots, I got hurt in camp, and I signed. I did an injury settlement with the Patriots where I could have potentially came back after 3 weeks and 3 game weeks if they would have wanted to extend that offer. And I felt like I had a good chance of that happening. But the Eagles called me after 2 weeks. They brought me back. Then this past year I went back for 2 weeks. Personally, I think a lot of people would hear that story and would think, okay, Jordan, do you harbor like resentment? I tell people all the time, you either get bitter or you get better. Like that's really it. Like if you carrying bitterness, they still own you. Like essentially, they got real estate in your mind, And so, I've worked along Howie like 2 more times, and I have conversations with him and his family, like it's just a regular conversation. The way I was able to get to that freedom was I started to see, like I said, like you were talking about, I saw the business side of it. I was like, okay, here's the facts. Whether a lot of people say, man, these people don't care. I think there's some validity to a little bit of that. But I also think I think sometimes they can.
It's true.
Because when you in that realm for a long time, I was not the first person to go through what I went through. True. And I'm not the last. And you got they bosses telling them, hey, we need to win games. Do what's best for the team. And so there's a little bit of that like, oh, man, these people don't care. But I honestly think when I look at the business side of it, I'm like, man, I don't think they can. I think that there's certain businesses, and everybody gets on the NFL. I tell people the NFL's business is just on Front Street. It's this way probably at IBM. It's probably this way at Apple, okay? It's just the NFL is played out like a reality TV show. Everybody sees the scars, basically. But I tell people all the time, like, you really can't. Like, in their situations, they can't sit around and get emotional about guys. The business won't let them, And so, I was able to get a little freedom from that. So people always think I like hate the Eagles or dislike. I'm like, I don't dislike Howie. That's his job. And so I started, once that happened, I started being able to say, okay, dang, okay, this really is a business. Okay, how do I want to navigate this now? Who am I going to really give my energy to? I can work hard, but who am I going to really allow to hold, like, who am I going to let hold my emotions, have the weight of my joy in their hands? And we had a situation, we out here working out, and there's this young guy who big Antonio Brown fan. He like big, and he was talking, he's about to go into the league now. I don't like to say names, but I was just working out with this cat. He said, man, the NFL doing Antonio Brown dirty. They doing him dirty, do a lot of brothers dirty, And I pulled him to the side and said, hey, I'm going to tell you something, dog. One, we out here catching right now, and I know we not just catching because we just doing this for fun. You want to get a job with the NFL, okay? That's the facts. Now, let's say some more facts, okay? There might be a lot of, prejudice, a lot of people say racism too. There's a lot of that stuff that goes on in the NFL. But understand this, if you want to work for that business, if you want to work for somebody, you still are coming under all the values and all the ideologies of that business. Mm-hmm. Why do you think there's such a huge talk about ownership nowadays in our community?
Yeah.
I said, let me tell you something, dog. You can have those opinions, but if you want to honestly, if you say, I want to work for this, then I'm telling you right now, dog, that's just, you need to understand this is a business. And I'm trying to put you on game right now. So when you go in, you can make your money, put money on the side, and guess what? Then you can own your own business.
Right.
And then you can act how you want to act for sure. You can be yourself. And you can hire other brothers that you feel like the NFL and the other businesses don't understand, and you from the same area as them. So you do understand them. You do see them as people. And you can hire them and treat them how they actually supposed to be treated because you actually know them. And that's just I said, we got to start to break this down, because really, either you working for somebody or people working for you. Really, that's it. Like, you making your money work for you. That's why, you know, me and Dre talk a lot, and he's gotten into real estate. He is now seeking ownership. He got to the point where he was like, I no longer want to be an employee of this system. I'm going to get out and I'm going to create my own system. That, Jeff, this is your podcast. Like, you pay your fees. Nobody's taking this away from you. You get to operate this how you want to. You know what I'm saying? And so that's one talks. And I don't think, I will say this too, though. I don't think there's nothing wrong. If a guy says, you know what? I like to go in. I like to play football. I like to collect the check. And I like to leave. By all means, brother, do what you got to do, as long as you have joy in it. But the last thing you want to do, though, is go into that arena, hear from everybody and their mama, it's a business, it's a business, it's a business, and still go think that it's a family. It's not. And so, and that's okay. And that's 100% okay. You can still break it down on team, you can still break it down on family. Just make sure you're going home to your real family. You know what I'm saying? And just understanding like what this thing really is.
No, that was good. I definitely like that you touched on a lot of key points there, man. I think that's valuable insight, valuable information that people can really sit with. So, yeah, I like that.
So, then you signed with the Patriots, and we all know it's a different kind of place. How was it?
Man, actually, bro, the Patriots was awesome. I did, yeah. I liked it because it was real. Like I tell people all the time, don't piss on my back and tell me it's raining. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm gonna get into something, bro, just be honest with me. And Bill Belichick, bro, he is honest. When you come in, he'll say, hey, this is what we see in you. This is what we expect of you. If you fall under this expectation, you're gonna be out. You know, if you do this, you'll get more opportunities. You know, he'll come in the first day. Like I just remember, like, so you come into the league and you have some of those meetings where your coach will be like, hey, there's no depth chart. Everybody has a chance. Man, you lying. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we know for a fact there's 50 guys that's already making a team. There's about 3 spots up for grabs. Mm-hmm. But they do that. They tell you, oh, man, all these spots are – when the Patriots say a lot of these spots up for grabs, the spots up for grabs. Okay? Or – he will come in and just be really honest. He said, I'm going to tell y'all right now. I think a lot of coaches have also picked up on this too, because Kyle Shanahan, who I admire a ton too, he was very honest with his team, very honest with 49. He would say the same things. But they'll say, look, we can only have a roster of 53 people and then 10 more guys on practice squad. All you guys are not going to make the team. Mm-hmm. But if you do your best, get better at the game, also put your best foot forward, also help this team, there's 2 things that are going to happen. Either somebody who already has a chance to make a team will get hurt and you will get an opportunity, or you will put great film on in the preseason and somebody else will pick you up. Sure. I'm like, thank you. At least don't sell me a pipe dream. Tell me what the deal is. You know what I'm saying? And that was the deal. And even when I got released from my injury, that was part of it. When I came into the Patriots, Bill was like, this is what we like about you. Here's one thing, though. You got injured a couple times in Philly. You got injured a couple times in Buffalo. You're coming off IR. We just need you to stay healthy. If you can't stay healthy, it's going to be hard for us to keep you. And so I was playing really well, doing well in camp. But when I pulled my hamstring, it was no hating that. He called me in and said, hey, man, Jordan, we talked about this. I look Bill, Bill and Nick Casero, who's there. He's kind of like, I think he's like an assistant GM. I don't know. It's a great guy too. I sat there and talked to Bill, and Bill was like, hey, this is where we are right now. I shook his hand. I said, hey, respect, because I would just rather you just tell me what it is. And I got in another situation like that with the Niners. I know we'll talk about, but like I said, that environment, whatever I do next, whatever realm I go into, if I get outed for being honest, cool, it won't work. It just wasn't meant to work. But if I get a level of ownership and I'm able to cultivate an environment, I'm gonna look. We're gonna tell people how it is.
Absolutely.
They're gonna know what we expect of them. They're gonna know what their job is, what the standard is. If you hit it, great. If you're not, we're gonna tell you you're not, and we're gonna give you opportunity to possibly get to it. If you still can't get to it, we're gonna say, hey, look, here was the standard. It was obviously communicated. Now we're at odds. And so, hey, maybe this ain't the best place for you. But at least you got that open line of communication and some honesty. And I felt like that happened at the Patriots. And that was something that I really actually did like about it.
And I think that that there are places and people that make sure that they communicate that to individuals. I just know mostly on a broad scope that's not, the culture is not cultivated like that. It's really, again, the overarching thing is we got to win, but at the same time is at the detriment of individuals,
Right.
that they not being fair and honest and upfront with. So again, you've kind of talked about a lot of the things that we wanted to cover. So we want to just kind of talk about what it would be, once football is done, right? Once you decide to hang them up, what does that next phase for you look like? You have an idea of something that you want to kind of walk into.
Right, man. Right. Well, I'll give you a little insight. So right now, I'm training in Florida. That's where I am right now. Feel great. If a call comes in, from a team, then I would end up going, playing, continuing my career. I would say, man, the one thing I love about the game is that challenge. That's one thing about it that I always appreciate, because on them Sundays, I feel every emotion. Like, the reason why you got people that be like, oh, I need to go skydive, it's because they trying to feel adrenaline, because they ain't felt that in a long time. You know what I'm saying? And on a Sunday, I feel in playing ball, I'll feel happiness, joy, I feel that adrenaline rush, euphoria, sadness, what I'm saying? Just every emotion in life, you can feel that in 3 hours. And that's what I love. I love training for that moment, to be able to go out there and put my best foot forward. And so it's always a fun thing for me to have a moment where I know I'm going to challenge myself. So if the opportunity comes, I'm going to still be able to do that. But I never like to sit on my hands. Last year, when I got released by the 49ers, I had like a week where I was at home. And right after that week, I was like, all right, I gotta learn something else. So I applied to grad school and started studying sports business at Northwestern, still going through those online classes, still just learning. And it was funny because it was like, why are you doing this? And the number one answer is, to get a degree. And I think that's why a lot of people do it. But I literally clicked the box that says self-improvement. Like, a piece of paper doesn't define me. I just need to be learning something.
Right.
I need to find something I'm interested in. If the piece of paper comes, great. But I just want to have something I can learn in the meantime so I can still grow. So I started studying sports business. I'm in an organization of a leadership class right now. I'm learning that. And I've been in talks with Vanderbilt, because I live in Nashville. And once training camp starts up for them, we're going to try and see if I can come on as kind of like a consultant a little bit, so I can start being around the football team, helping out a little bit, because I know I want to go into athletics. I know I want to, help at the athletic department, mainly at Vanderbilt, and then obviously we'll see where that goes. But I would love to be able to be at my college, where I have a little bit of, I actually had the opportunity to talk to the whole athletic department this past Monday. Yeah, they asked me to open up their meeting for their Monday meeting. And so, and after that, Candace, who I have a ton of respect for, who's the new AD, she says, Jordan, like, you have a home here, and that meant a lot to me, because I'm like, okay, I don't ever expect a handout. That's why I'm in school right now. I'm not about to walk up to Vanderbilt and say, hey, look, here's my accomplishments, give me a job. Now, I want to still go earn it. But there's experiences that I've had over the past 6 years playing in the NFL. Guys that I've met that are misunderstood.
Mm-hmm.
Training rooms that I've seen work in training rooms that don't. Equipment staffs, weight rooms, strength and conditioning staffs, programs I've seen, oh, this is great. And I've seen what the guys say, and I have a lot of good relations with coaches. I see what the coaches say. And so I'm like, man, I think I'm learning how to cultivate a healthy environment where people can come in, be their best selves in sports, but also be able to grow as people. Because I'm at the point now, you can catch 10 touchdowns, and you can be the dude that honestly is a red shirt walk-on, and I'll talk to you the same. Because I know when you're done catching touchdowns, y'all going to be in the same place. You're going to be right on LinkedIn with him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I've learned how to break down, like I said, I'm behind the hype, like you talk about. I'm behind all that, and I think that's healthy. So now I look at people for who they are. I'm like, let me get to know you. Okay. Let me get to understand how we do things here and then try and change that. So I don't know what capacity it's going to be in, I'll be honest, but I know for a fact it's going to be working with the athletic department early on at Vanderbilt, and then just being a family man. I'm about to have my second child, Lord willing, in December. I'm headed home today to go see my family, and it was funny. Like I said, I'm gonna keep going back to when I was going back and looking up stuff I said a long time ago on Twitter, and I found this one tweet I sent to my wife. I said it's like 2012. I said I found myself dreaming about family more than money, and that's who I was. That's who I've been. You know, like that's who I've always been deep down, man. Is that like I got a son now, Josiah. I named him after the last great king of Judah. You know, before Yeshua came, and like he did it right. So I'm gonna put that name on my son, because he gonna leave my house and he gonna get called a lot of stuff. But one day he gonna be like, man, why they call me Josiah? He gonna look at his name, he gonna look it up. Why they call me? And it's because it means Jehovah has healed. Yes. All right. That means no matter what, you're gonna be okay. No matter what, there's a name on you that matters. And we love you and we see you. And whether I have a son or daughter, we don't know yet, but I'm gonna put a name on that child. They look up, man, why they call me this? Why they, find out. And so that's just what that's where I want to be at, man. I'm building my house. We got the foundation. My wife's sending me a lot of blueprints, and it's those moments, man. I just be like, man, it's awesome. Like, I wouldn't trade my life for nobody. You know, there's days I struggle. There's days like I just deactivated my Twitter because I'm really about to start locking in now in the next couple months. But there were days now, I don't act like I figured this thing out. There's days where I got caught looking at mentions and seeing people say stuff about me and thinking, man, are they right? Nah, man, when I get around my family, when I get around my nucleus, I'll be like, nah, man, ain't nobody taking this away. You can take all that other stuff away. Ain't taking this away. We're going to make this happen. And so, man, just being around family, helping out with the athletic department at Vanderbilt, we're going to see where that goes.
Absolutely.
I've been a part of a lot of your charity events, which have been definitely amazing, bro. And can you talk about your charity work and why you decided to do it?
Yeah, man. I would say the biggest thing behind my charity work has been, we speak a lot about investment. My foundation is called Matthew's Mission. I tell them all the time, like, I say if we can't really be with those people, I don't really want to do it. Like let somebody else who can actually invest in those people for a long period of time take on that. So I got very disingenuous with the whole, okay, I'm gonna go to school, I'm gonna pull up in my Audi, I'm gonna walk in there, I'm gonna give these kids a speech, and I'm gonna leave, and they never gonna see me again. I'm like, that we ain't changed nothing. If anything, we made them feel worse, And so I said, look, we're gonna start investing. We're gonna start doing these things over a long period of time. And so we started working with women in Nashville who have been victims of all types of abuse, and we were able to have a couple charity games, and guys like Dre, Kenny, Carl Butler, my boy, Krause. We've had guys from the past, Jordan Rogers, Jay Cutler, Earl Bennett, the coaches, staff. They were able to come and help out. We were able to throw this charity game and then be able to donate money to the women's shelter to help with women who have been victims of abuse. But like I said, I'm not big on the reactive. We got to talk about the proactive. There's also a company called Amend. It's a foundation where they talk about how it's totally built around teaching young men how to treat women. Like we need to get to the root before we get to, what I'm saying? Because we don't really talk about the fact that like we have these things we like, oh, no means no, no means no. But it's like, man, we got to really talk about before they even get into that situation. We got to set up these building blocks so they learn about here's how we react to a woman. You know what I'm saying? Hey, if this was your homeboy's sister, how would you talk to her? Right. And all these guys be like, oh, that's his sister, man. We ain't gonna be talking crazy, huh? That's your boy's sister. Well, that other girl you see, that's somebody else's sister. Even though it's not your homeboy, she's still a woman. So let's start to break down these barriers. You know what I'm saying? Because we're starting to realize, like, with a lot of the racial injustice going on now, that you see, they all are sisters.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so we talk about that on the proactive level. And then my favorite one, this has been my favorite. I don't want to go too long on this, and we're going to keep this one short. But I was in Philadelphia for 2 years, and we had a mentorship program. And like I said, I went to those kids and I said, guys, I'm not going to bring no cameras in here. We're not tweeting about this. This ain't for everybody. It's for us. I'm going to be here every single Friday of the playing week. And we're going to talk about different issues, and we're going to grow together. So we talked about stuff like how to take care of money, how to do an interview, relationships. We bring in people like Trey Burton, who would talk about his stories about coming from a single parent home and how he got to where he is now. And I took him to a cooking class. We learned how to cook. It was all sorts of stuff. We just taught them life skills. At the end of the program, they all got $1,000 to a $1,000 scholarship to wherever they were going to school. $1,000 worth of scholarship money. And we even set them up with internships. One of my girls, Diamond, who I'm about to speak about now, the Eagles were even, like I said, that's why I don't harbor hard feelings, because we were able to do this later. Diamond, when I came back to the Eagles, always told me she wanted to be a chef. The Eagles allowed me to bring Diamond up to the facility so she could shadow our head chef for a whole day, so she could see what it's like working in the kitchen for a multi-billion-dollar business. Mm-hmm. And so she got to get in there at 6. I come in there for breakfast. She right there making my breakfast, like, oh, hey, Jordan, like, you learning something? She's like, yeah, I'm learning a lot, and it was so cool. And the last day of our mentorship program, we get all the kids together. I give them a book. We're going to give them scholarships. I go around and ask them each and say, hey, what was y'all's favorite thing about this? And when it got to Diamond, she said, well, my favorite thing about it was you just kept coming back. Mm. That was it. And that's when I realized, I was like, dog, like, this is how it's got to be. We always we put so much emphasis on that person that's speaking at this big arena with 5,000 people in it. Man, it's about what you do with a small amount of people every day. Yep. It's about those people who you sit down, you look them in the eye and be like, look, I see you. Okay? Because we got a lot of that where people don't actually see nobody. Right. Okay? You want to know how racism still continues to exist? Is because the person whose dad owned the company, that finally gives it to him, he ain't been around nobody that looks like us for years. Yep. So what's he gonna think about us? Mm-hmm. What I see on TV, what I hear in that song, okay? So you see that, but you don't see me. See, in order to see me, you gotta actually be in my realm for a while. You actually have to invest, not just money, but time. Because we love to get money and just throw at that stuff. That ain't sacrifice. Right. That's just a little bit of giving. See, sacrifice is when you give to the point where it actually might affect your life. Yep. So when you giving time, oh, okay. You say yes to something, you say no to something else. So the kids like, hey, you come here every Friday and you're not getting paid for this, and there's no cameras here, you're not getting no retweets. Oh, like, you must be trying to get to know us. I said 100%, because I don't want to come here one day and have a bunch of people taking pictures of me and saying, hey, a football player came here. I'm coming here every day to a point where you're like, oh, Jordan coming. Mm-hmm. Because that's who I am. And I want to get to know y'all where I can, your name, okay, you're Quay, you're D Burns, okay, you're Tanaj, you're Kyra, you're Angel. Remember all my kids, man. Right. I know where they're going. I've had kids call me, I had one of them lose one of their children. I was one of the first people he called. This is what it's about. Yeah. Because I had a kid that every day he walked to school, his mom that gave him up for adoption, she still lived in Camden. He walked by every day and see his mom on the porch. He's like, why would my mama want me? He asking me, you know what I'm saying? And I never went through that. But at the same time, he just wanted somebody to talk to. And that's what we got to do. And we are doing that. I think there's a lot of brothers in the community going back and doing that. I've been with Dre. He goes back to Port Allen. He's been pouring into his community. But at the same time, like, we just got to keep perpetuating that, man. Just that investment. If you can spend enough time around somebody, wait till that kid ends up becoming something. They're going to say, oh, it was that coach. That coach at practice. It was that teacher. It was, and that's the biggest thing about Matthew's mission, man. Just, if we're going to do something, I want to be there. And we talk about that investment all the time.
Awesome, man. I appreciate you, man. You really pull back the curtain on a lot of things, and you really hit home on a lot of things. You know, again, it's not about throwing money at something or showing up once. It's really the action of continuing to follow up. That's how you really impact change. Like you said, a lot of people have been doing a lot of donate money in this this protest movement and all this stuff, but the real action gonna come to when you starting to see if it's really diversity happening at those companies. Are they bringing people around? Because again, those people at the top, they only gonna surround themselves with people that they're comfortable with, right? So again, we'll see all this and how this plays out, man. But again, I appreciate you for speaking about that, because you just touched on so many things, and I think a lot of people will get a lot of value from what it is you said. So I don't have anything else for you, man. You knocked it out of the park for me. Dre, you got anything else?
Just thank you for coming on the show, dog. Like, you know, you my boy, man. I love you, bro, and I really appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, man, I love you too, dog, man. And I like I said, I love the fact that y'all doing this. I love the fact that this is your own thing, Jeff. Dre, I love that you helping him with this. And I love the fact that you doing your own thing with real estate. This is where it starts. You know what I'm saying? This is where we start to change the narrative. And so I'm just happy for where y'all gonna take this. I'm gonna continue to listen, continue to subscribe to other people about it. Just excited for where y'all going with it.
Absolutely, man. So there you have it. Another episode of What's the Hype podcast, man. We're grateful and pleasant. We'll be watching you. We're rooting for you. We'll definitely be keeping an eye out on everything that's happening with you, brother. We appreciate you coming on.
Kane is in the building.